he was one of the big Talmidim from Bashem, from Rebbe, and he left to Israel. And they asked him, who do you leave the Rebbe on? And this thing a month. Hav Shulam was the first vision Rebbe, the Kosovo Rebbe, the Mendel Kosovo. And he was his Talmud. He was a Udam Good Lamoid, and he made him Rebbe. He didn't want to become Rebbe, like he didn't get Rebbe. He had 3 more Rebbes. One of them was alive. That's why he wrote him the letter. He should take the Rebbe. And he was Mamshech. After him was the Chamel Kosovo in the Tzemach. And the division said, one after the other, take over, right the way the Rebbe. In the Burger Vision said, in the Haus Yisrael, in the Chaim, and the zwei Kinder Hand Hashem. Bis Mashiach came. This is a special bracha.
Beautiful. What do you remember of the present Vizhnitzer Rebbes in Grosswardein?
Today, both of them.
Both of them, yes.
I have the here to dance of him Fußspiel from him at Schuldig because the Chassan was in Days. My father went to the Chassan in Days, and he gave Chaim on the train. They arrested him. He gave out whiskey for Chaim. They arrested him because at that time in 42. But today's Rebbe was in the Monsi was als Bucher in Bucharest. He told me, "Ich heiße Mordechai, die heißt Mordechai. We gaan learn every day at the shir with me, with Munye Shapira, Chavra Knesset. We learn together. He learned with us every day at shir. He was the Monsi Rebbe special. Mr. Stefes, my father took him. He didn't want to go with all this film. As a goy issue papers. At night, Motzei Shabbos, he had to leave. It was dark. He couldn't find the film. My father told him, I'll leave you. His mother said, wait. She took the film with him, and he came on the other side of the border. My father asked him, leave the film for me because you're going to Arad. You're going to be there. I'm mistaken. He said, you told me to leave him there. So his mother told him, put down the film, but he took it up around. But then he was a Rebbe Shemoifes. He was arrested in Balanias. 5 days he would never have tefillin if not for those tefillin. My father had already in the morning tefillin, the vision said arrived tefillin.
You've maintained your connection, as we mentioned, right to this day through the years.
Yes.
So you participated in Vizhnitzer Tishon in Grosswardein, in Bucharest, in Bnei Brak, and in Marseille.
Yeah.
We sind in the
Because since Apero was after, I go every Shule to Monsi, in Kippur Kanskalaim, Shvius to Bnei Brak. Baruch Hashem.
Let's talk a little bit about Boba, because you got to know 2 generations of Boba Rebbes very, very well in Grosswardein, and it happens to be very close to me as a Boba Vachusid. So, Bebas, if you could show us image 5, please. That's it. Now, that is taken a little bit before you got to know them, but that's roughly how they would have looked. On the right is the Boba Rebbe of Shloime, and in the middle, the young boy is Naftuli, and in the middle is their father and grandfather, the Kedishas Tzion, the Rebbe Tzion, who was murdered, Al-Kiddush Hashem in Lemberg in 1941. And so this is how they would have looked when you...
It didn't look like that. I got to know.
Tell us about that. It's important.
I got to know by accident. I'm always thankful for Chaver Meinem, Shia Lefkovich. The Boba Roof came to Grosswardein. Nobody knew he's in Grosswardein. He was hiding in their house. The Rebbetzin and the other brother, Rav Tulsis, and her sister were still alive. And at that time, my family was already spread because we were looking for my father. I want to add one thing here. We were saved, Baruch Hashem, the ganze Mishpucha, just not to see my brother-in-law, my youngest sister. She was 4 years old. She don't see it like that. 4 years old, and she went over the border. Yeah, I can say one thing. The ganze Mishpucha got saved. Meine Schiessen retten nicht, but actually because my father helped for other people. Why? Because they were caught, some people, and my father was afraid that he will be caught, so that's why we had to run away. in a ganze Meise was a story, a Shabbos with police. In noch eine Sache will ich sagen, a Muslim, my father went to mikveh Friday. Because that Friday, my father was hidden in the house on false papers. We had an apartment, we had a printing shop. And the two little children never do that. My father is home. They were afraid they're going to ask him. My father opened the door to look on them. He and Mrs. Lieberman, these two younger sisters, two older sisters, and that Friday, we lived in a big house, an apartment house, so-called. And the janitor used to lock the door every evening. You had to ring the bell to open the door. We couldn't get into the house after 12 o'clock on. And she knew that my father is in Banya. People went to Banya to go to the working camp. And my father also had to go. But my father made himself false papers. He had false papers. Friday, he went to mikveh. And we looked out. She shouldn't see the goiter. She got. My mother's Oleh Shulam had some feeling. They were looking for somebody. Says, I want to sleep a night peaceful. Do me a favor. Go to your uncle for sleep. That saved us. Mama, he went to mikveh. And Friday night we ate. Somebody knocked in our window. That's a cousin of your mother's ran away from the police. Mendel was Mendel was here. Mendel was Ladanyerov's brother was a cousin. They caught him, and if they're going to come to see him, don't get scared. He's already safe. And they came all night looking police. So the whole family was after that away separate. They were separate, and that saved us, mamash.
Because they went to the mikveh Friday.
Right, mamash. And they didn't come home. If they would have been home, they would have caught him because they found out he had a bunker. He would have gone to the bunker. He had a place underneath of the wall, and they found it. So he would have been caught. Now, in the whole that we went over the border to Romania was a nes betoch nes. The shliach came from Romania to pick up the Vision Rebbe. But the ghetto was made on the Wednesday, so Friday was closed off. Couldn't go. Lucky, because of my Tatan's cousin, he came to him. He was also a schmuggler, and he got the letter, and he couldn't read it. He brought my father to read the letter, and my father saw the letter, so he told his cousin, okay, fine, we see the family to save the family, but if we came for the Vision Rebbe, we have to let the Vision Rebbe know. She took my older sister. She got the ghetto was made one day, all surrounded. Well, Goyim lived there too, so the Goyim got settler papers to be able to go move in and out to move away. So my father bought right away such a settle, and my sister, lucky no pictures on the settle. So she came into the ghetto. She went to Vision Rebbe to tell him, "You can go tonight to Romania." He says he's not ready. He's not for the bed yet. He's going to forest. But anyway, she left the address by him. And so my two sisters, Fischelhaas, and a few people, 10 people, went with that Friday night. But I start to say, we were already weeks before spread. That Friday night, I ate a dumpling supper Besmedish, and a cess came into Besmedish. And everybody started to run. My Chava, Shia Lefkovich, comes over to me, Mordechai, where do you run? In a restaurant, to eat in a restaurant? Come to it. He didn't tell me Baba was by them. And then Friday night, I got to know, Avtulce became friends, busy Bila Besreise. Real close friends. Every Simcha he came to me. In the Baba Roof, I was his Gabba in Bucharest. When Avtulce went to Etzisur, he was supposed to go one of the boats, which was drawn. It was bombed. One of the 3 boats. And he thought Nebuch and Avtulce.
His father sent him to Eretz to learn.
No, he went to save.
To save him.
Then he learned.
He learned in Sloan. But there were 3 ships that were heading out together, and he was on one of them.
He's supposed to be on the one which was Mercury.
One of them was attacked
Yeah.
and burnt.
Yeah.
And they knew that
He changed. I got a card from him, from Constanze, that he changed the boat. He went with the Bulbul, the other boat.
So,
and the Baba Roof thought that the Avtulce had never gone.
yes.
I came, there's a table, he said, And of course, his Chaver Mottel, he grabbed me. I came to tell him that he went with the other boat.
There were 3 boats. One of them was sunk, and the Bob of the Roof thought that his son was on that one.
Yeah.
And unbeknownst to him, he had moved over to another boat, and you got a postcard from him before his father even got the postcard.
Yeah.
What did his father think once he heard that?
He was mamish, totally. Only child was left because other 2 children were caught never.
Yes.
I was his governor in Bucharest.
I heard the other side of the story, that he said, Rabbeinu Shalom, I'm giving you my son, he's in your hands, whatever you decide to do with him, that I'll accept.
Probably.
Words to that.
Probably that.
That's the story that I heard.
That's in the house, probably.
Yes. You start.
What month was it?
This was in August, not August, in August 44, in the middle of the war.
You started telling us about the Bob of Shlomo's appearance.
Yeah, I met him.
Like
He had no beard. He was,
no beard. He had colour. He was in disguise. In disguise. He had no beard.
Then I met him again in Arad. Then I met him in Bucharest, became very close friends.
Right, but with his father, he had no beard at that time. And I heard a conversation between him and the Bahosha Rebbe many years later, where the Bahosha Rebbe related that the Baba Reb Shlomo came to his Besmedrash, and he was dressed in a light suit and a light hat. He was disguised. And he managed to save a lot of Yidden that way. And he had no beard. And the Bahosha Rebbe took him into a side room, and they were locked up together for a long time. And I heard on the tape how the Bahosha Rebbe said, he was laughing, that his Hasidim thought that the Bahosha Rebbe is Kaligavon because he had this modern friend. But in fact, he was able to save a lot of Yidden.
Somebody made a joke there too. To see sons, this is religion.
Okay. There's a lot of history to that joke.
Yeah.
Very good. And tell us what you remember about Reb Shlomo's personality in Grosswardein.
In Grosswardein, I don't remember too much except that when I met him. But I remember his personality in Bucharest. And after that, one of the choshest personalities, when I met him the first time, I'll tell you, I was his Gabba in Montreal. I came to Montreal to Yeshiva. And he went to visit to his mother-in-law, lived in Montreal. He was in Toronto first Shabbos. He came to Montreal, and I went to the train to wait for him. I heard Baba was coming. He stepped down from the train. He looks at me. I didn't see me from 44 to 50. Hey, Smotel, he kissed me. He said, what can I do for you? First question, if I need money, papers, anything, Mama's dead was his first question. I came to Montreal, to New York from Montreal. First stop was Rav Tulce, and I came, he gave me papers to be able to come to America. He helped everything. He was like the finest person you can ever imagine.
You mentioned that you knew him in Bucharest after the war.
After the war, yeah.
What was he doing in Bucharest?
He was doing in Bucharest. He didn't grow a beard yet because he didn't know where his mother is. His mother was in Budapest. So he was no sure he had to go to look for her. So he went in a Bäckische in Hamburg, yes. But not to the board, not in the board yet, till he left, and I left.
No beard, but a Bäckische. In fact, I think he had the first Bäckische made after the war in
Bucharest. Yeah, right.
You remember that?
Yeah. I went with him.
You went with him together?
I went with him all over. And after the war, because Romania turned against the Germans in August, right? A few weeks after the boat left, the Romania turned against Germany. In the yeshiva, in Farake was Rabbi Katz, Bevelar Roof, he was a yeshiva. In the Baba was the president of the yeshiva. And Satmar Roof arrived to Switzerland, Kuf Alav Nissen, yeah? Kwalev Kislev. My father, as president of the Aguda over there, organized a Siddur in Malmashir, 1,000 people were there. In the Baba Roof taught me at Russia, I should speak in the name of the yeshiva. I reminded him, yes, in Florida, exactly the Russia, what he said.
So the first thing he and the other Gedolim thought of was
Torah.
Back to learning.
Vision Tzeba was there, all of them were together, yeah.
And they set up this magnificent yeshiva.
Yeah.
And you became, as you mentioned, very, very close friends with Naftuli. You were around the same age as him.
I was a year younger than me.
He was a year younger.
He was bar mitzvah in ghetto.
Right.
I was mitzvah in bunker. He was bar mitzvah in bunker.
In the bunker. You remember the bar mitzvah?
No, I wasn't there.
Because
when I left, he was not bar mitzvah, and I met him in Arad, he was bar mitzvah already.
I know that on the day he started putting on tefillin, his father said to him, by Chassidim, you go to the mikveh before putting on tefillin. We don't have a mikveh here, but there is a drain pipe that is dripping water. We will shower ourselves with tisha kavim, and we will be mechavan. We will have in mind that since we don't know from day to day what's going to happen, that this might have to be our tahara as well. That the mikveh before putting on tefillin was also counted as his tahara in case he never got to a Cheved Kedusha later on. That's how he celebrated, quote unquote, his bar mitzvah.
I think I was the first one who wrote the Kvittel Tzera of Fulce, because the Rebbe, she was Nifter Hesse, she gave me a copy of a letter which I wrote him from Italy to Eretz Yisrael, a long letter, and I signed my name with my mother's name, Mordechai Belev Kabir. He was 60 years old, because I thought he was a great person as a young boy.
Let's have a look at image number 6, please, Bebart. This is a beautiful photo of the two of you. On the left is Reb Naftuli, and on the right, the Havzat Chaim Chaim are you. Salam you.
It was in Bucharest before he boarded to Yisrael. He went to take pictures for the passport, so we took this picture together. Historic picture. The copy I got from him from Yisrael. I lost my copy originally. He gave me a copy from Yisrael.
And tell us what qualities shone through in him, even as a child.
Two very important. Yerushalayim and Ahavas Yisrael. Middle story, both of them is equally by him. Emissary Yerushalayim. No, we were boys. We tried in Bucharest not to. The Germans were still bottom, so we tried not to be in the houses. So we went out to take boats and rowing boats. He went with us. The young boys, we tried to make some stick to go. One of them go out and get back the deposit and continue. He wouldn't let, no way.
He jumped out.
No, he wouldn't go. He wouldn't want it. A young boy, he was 14 years old.
The idea was that you would give the boat back, get the deposit back, and then you would secretly...
No, you wouldn't give the boat back. You send out one guy with a slip to get the money back.
And then you continue in the boat, and he jumped out of the boat.
He didn't go.
And there was another story that I heard about the circus. I originally thought that I'd heard it from you, but you told me I didn't. Where the circus came to town, and the boys ran there, and they found a large fence around the circus site. They found a hole where they could sneak under the fence. And they all went under the fence, except for Naftuli. He stood outside and refused.
I don't remember that. But it probably happened.
Yes, even at that stage.
Yeah, he was, and I know him, I was very close to him here at the Bila Basraisa.
You what, sorry?
I was very close with him at the Bila Basraisa. He used to come to my office, very close. But every simcha I participated in. As a matter of fact, by the chassid of my daughter, so saying is in something, I gave him a brucha. I had 30 reburim by the chassid. I only daughter at that time. And I gave him a brucha. He came up. That was the nature of Naftulce. I was scared my hands and I eat what's the office. But I gave him the brucha. The satber, the mikach was the Sadik Skelender Rebbe had brucha chrite, and I gave him a brucha. He said, well, he came up. I didn't tell him in advance. You can give it to somebody who needs it.
You gave us example of his Yerushalayim. What about his Abbas?
Middle story somewhere. Jetzt for a Yid hat Moishe again Moishe. I tell you, for a Yid, he would go out of his way. He had some problems in that because he was ready to help everybody, no matter what.
He was brought up that way by his father.
His father. He had a special nature, a gewaltige. Father was the Bogeru was an edler Mensch, In a matter of fact, I had once a shaybuch by me, for my former brother-in-law. I had a satmer roof with a bubble roof by the shaybuch in Crown Heights. You should say about minutes in bubble roof. So, we waited, the satmer roof came, and the oil got up right away, but the bubble roof said, no, he got up later, said, to get up for a person to be in front of him, not from 2 blocks before. And then when he went home, satmer roof, he walked him down, and he came back. So Baba Rufa got something tonight. But to begleit him, I have to begleit him, otherwise I go together. He came back, so he showed that he went to walk him down. At Makbet of Yedenvar. And even sitting, I have a picture of that. He sat like this. He didn't want to sit Satmaruf in one row. And I've told you about that too.
He taught his son from childhood to care about others. There's a famous story that one Shabbos morning before davening, he gave Naftuli 2 challahs and told him to take them over to a particular house and put them on the table, the Shabbos table. But Naftuli, as a child, went over and he saw through the window that there was a challah decal and it appeared to be covering challahs. He went over, picked up the challah decal, and there were 2 bricks there. The Yid Nebuch didn't have money to buy challahs for Shabbos. So his father sent him with the challahs, and then he said, then go and daven. First help a Yid, and then go and daven.
That was the nature of Baba.
That was the nature, yes. The story about the money which personified him, his stress on kusha geld, and not being a hen from Gezel. You saw that in a very interesting way in another great personality with whom you were very close, and that was Moishe Sherer. Tell us a little bit about that.
Moishe Sherer, it's a famous story. Then, one time he got the building from someone supposed to have been...
This was 84 Williams Street.
Yeah, 84 Williams, yeah. He got, I'll never forget it, Benny Fischoff also told me when he went home, he was impressed with that story. Was we got a cheap lease of one of the buildings. I don't tell you who gave it to us, but that guy gave us a very cheap rent for the good. But on the books he carried it full rent. And when he went bankrupt, the bank came in and said, I don't care, you owe us fortune of money for that big money, but they didn't pay all this month. And he saw it's going to be a problem. Moishe got together 30 people, his close people. He needs from everybody 25,000, I think, at that time, to get ready. When he be able to settle with the bank, he shouldn't be a Chel Hashem, to have the money ready. And Reichman gave half, 50%, else one. So then when one day he called us for a meeting, he said, he's settling the bank. Lucky that bank was a Swiss bank. He did a favor, what's the name? He was deputy for Mayor Bin. Mayor Biederman, but did a favor for the bank. With him, they settled the settlements for a sum of money. So he called us together.
And the money wasn't needed, in other words.
It was legal. No.
The money that he collected and held was not needed.
No, it needed. It was needed. Right. But he called us together and he said he wants to settle. Asked our advice. He said, "Here's the money. That's how much. It was a separate account. The good needed money 10 times. Never touched the money. Moved from one thing to another. Ehrlich Geld. We were amazed. Any other organization would have changed it 10 times already. Moishe collected it for that purpose, and that was the purpose.
And he didn't even borrow it.
No, he borrowed it.
It's an extraordinary story. Let's talk a little bit about your own efforts, helping Yidden with money and smuggling across the border.